Hey, Kaseja here. Today I wanted to talk about just a brief synopsis of where I've gathered all my information and what led me to the place that I am now, and different resources and people who to look for inspiration and guidance for your raw or your health journey, because everybody doesn't resonate with everybody. So I wanted to talk about that. For me, I had my daughter, she is 15 going on 16, in 2007. And I was a young mom, so I was like really shocked. I think I lost 20 pounds instantly. But I got to like 180 something with her. The 20 pounds came off, but no, I got to 205 with her at my peak. So I got to, the 20 pounds came off. I was 185. And I struggled. I was only 19. And I struggled to lose the rest of the weight. And I was just so shocked. Because I was so, like before that I could eat what I want, just not eat for a couple days. My weight would get back to normal. I'm good. And I just thought, like, why isn't this happening anymore? And I eventually would go to the gym, change my diet a little bit, get kind of close, then I ended up moving. I lived in Orange County at the time in California, and then I ended up moving back home to the Central Coast where my family lives, and gained all the weight I had lost. And this was like a cycle that I was like, man, it was really kind of discouraging because I was like stuck in the 80s and I didn't like it. Most of my life I was pretty thin. I was never overweight. So eventually in 2000 I had to be in the teens. Like, I was in college. I graduated in 16. So I'm gonna say around 2016, possibly. I'm tired of being this way. It's my last year at the university, and I came across this book, and it's by J.J. Smith. It's The Green Smoothie Cleanse. And this book changed the game for me. You did a fast for 10 days, drinking nothing but smoothies. You would take, a cleanser at night, flush out your system, basically clean out your colon to a degree. And then if you wanted to, you could do a salt water flush where you drink a cup of salt water the next day. You could also drink detox teas. You were allowed to have some snacks like apple and peanut butter or carrots, but you could not. She even, I think, allows a boiled egg, but I didn't like eggs, so that was never my thing. But you cannot just eat meals, but the meals are supposed to be your smoothies, basically. So I ended up doing the first time 13 days, lost about 15 pounds, and that was like really exciting for me. And the one thing that I loved about J.J. Smith is that she taught you how to keep the weight off. Start off with the soup, and then even if you're gonna binge eat, she had the plan, just take a whole bunch of Mago 7 and you will not gain any weight. So basically that will just cleanse out what you eat and the weight won't be obtained. And overall that did good. I think I got to the 40s with her. Did it twice and got to where I wanted to be in 2 months just by doing it twice. And eventually, my maintenance wasn't so good. Started going back to, my little junks, my chips and things like that. But I was maintaining like in the 60s. Then I ended up picking up weight again. I think around COVID and stuff like that. My weight just had creeped back up. And so I kind of had this yo-yo thing going on. I would lose the weight, pick it back up. Eventually during COVID, someone mentioned Yahki Awakened. And I know the doctor's Sebi diet being alkaline. I never really went full on into that, but it is a cooked, I guess basically cooked vegan, but everything you eat has to be alkaline, and they have a Dr. Sebi approved list. And that's where some people like to start, because it's important to keep your body alkaline to remove a lot of diseases and things from the body. But I was watching someone on YouTube and they mentioned Yahki Awakened. So I started watching Yahki and he talked about how we were made to be fruitarians. And when I heard this has just resonated. Like, this is true. So I got my daughter and me, we were eating nothing but fruits primarily. And we were just dropping weight. But at that time I was like, you know what, I don't care about the scale. You know, I'm just going to eat healthy. I felt healthy, felt energetic. And that was what I was going off, what my body said, not what the scale said. And I ended up losing the weight, getting back. I had to have gotten to like the 70s or 80s. Lose the weight, got back to the 60s. And that's when I got married. So me and my daughter primarily been eating like that. Maybe eating one meal, if any, like maybe with some black beans, with, you know, making like a unleavened tostadas and things like that if we were to eat. But we were doing pretty much primarily fruits. And when we got married, we moved, relocated. My husband was not in that lifestyle at that time. So I started going back, you know, eating cooked food. I'm like, I can't do this, making a whole bunch of different meals a day. So I ended up starting eating what my husband was eating, gained weight. Then I was pregnant. And then eventually I ended up reading about the Grape Cure. And I did this for 40 days, ate nothing but grapes, lost the weight, and started to be raw vegan. One thing that I didn't prepare while I was fasting, I did watch a lot of videos. Shout out to Raw Christina. That is another great resource. She has a lot of great raw vegan recipes. And you could tweak every recipe to what you eat, what you don't eat. That's why I love her channel and just her inspiration. And so while I was doing the Grape Cure, I was watching tons of videos. My favorite food is Mexican food. So I probably watch every YouTube video on pico de gallo, guacamole. I was just watching that all night. So what was the first thing I made when I got home? The grapes. Guacamole, collard green wraps. And I became obsessed with avocados. When I say obsessed, I mean I was eating bowls of avocados every day. Yes, I was just so obsessed with it. And it was like, I think I started gaining a lot of weight. And it was just and this is when I realized, yes, being raw is a beautiful thing. It's also learning to balance it. It's also learning to balance what you eat. And you're going to be in situations where you can't. Like, if there is no food, what are you going to do? How are you going to act? And this is where I realized, like, it is very tough. I traveled and I was just so upset and, like, I'm hungry, like, just freaking out about not having my food and stuff like that. And so I was like, you know what, I need to take a step back. And I think I started eating cooked food after that, or during that time, because I realized, like, yeah, mentally I hadn't prepared my mind for that type of journey and the commitment, to the point where I'm acting out of character. My husband was like, I have never seen you complain like this. I was like, I'm hungry, just freaking out because there was nothing that was like able to fulfill my nutritional requirement in the way I was living. I did not prepare well. But it was a learning lesson for me. So I learned this, and yeah, I took a break from just raw and started eating cooked food again. Shortly after that, got pregnant again. But during that time, And when I lost this one, like I always go through this thing when I haven't lost. It's peach cobbler and pico de gallo and chips. Those are the things that are like my comfort foods. And every time I lose that, I like, yeah, give me a peach cobbler. Like that's what I want to comfort me. And so after I go through that phase, I'm like, okay, let me get myself together. It was actually my daughter's idea. I really wasn't even thinking about going back healthy or eating raw. It's just, Mom, I think we should go back to some fruits and vegetables. And how about we do a raw challenge? And I think she challenged me to 30 days or something of that nature. And I'm going to have her on and just to share her results and how she experienced her experience. But it was powerful just to see how even the transformation of my daughter, this time it was her choice, and how her body was just changing how her clarity, she had so much energy, she was getting up early on her own with no alarm. It was beautiful. And I decided, I'm gonna do a watermelon and cucumber. So I think I did 30 days with that, and I was taking herbs during that time, and that was good. And once we finished with that, we continued, and we just started eating raw food. Then I got pregnant. And this is how I knew. I could always tell because my appetite, I usually could do good on one meal a day. And my appetite, I would be working, and I do shopping. I shop for people. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry. I could usually work all day and come home and make a meal, just one huge meal. And I'm like, I'm so hungry. And I started doing, getting those Impossible burgers at Carl's Jr. Getting those, started eating fries. And yeah, I was pregnant. But I just creeped in the cooked food. And then also another way I creeped back in, that was like later on. But my husband, I cook for my husband. And one thing I noticed when I'm raw, like me being in tune to the herbs and stuff I cook with is out of this world. So the food I be making him is like, oh, this smells so good. And he'd be like, oh, this is good. And I gotta try some. And then it was just carrots and I think it was fio. Yeah, it was delicious. But then I started keeping in the cooked food. And through every time, it's just taught me more and more about myself. Because I realized in this time, just mentally being committed. Living a lifestyle that is not the norm for everybody. You have to me, number one, mentally be determined and know what your why is. Number two is constantly stay inspired by other people who are doing what you want to do and what you are doing. If you do not have that, you have to create your own support system. Most people around us on our daily lives are not going to be eating healthy to like a raw vegan or a fruitarian. So that always is going to be a place of temptation. So one thing that I've learned is just every day I constantly am listening to someone who can speak life to me to continue on my health journey. And like I mentioned, Yahki, he's always going to bring out some innovative information and things about health and herbs and fruitarian and just keep you inspired. I love Gillian Berry, one of the people that has always kept me motivated during the juice fast. I watch her interviews constantly. Sometimes I have to rewatch them, just like, man, they did it that many days, I can do 40. That was really an inspiration for me. And then even just the raw vegan lifestyle, the fruitarian lifestyle, she interviews so many different people from all walks of life who have come to the common place of health and mind, body, spirit. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. There are people out there that are doing this work and that they love to share with the world, and they love to highlight other people's platforms. And then I joined, while I was on the juice fast, Shane Sterling, who does Raw Vegan Heroes. To have a support group while you're fasting is essential. It's definitely worth investing in yourself. And another person that I really enjoy is Healthy Alternatives with Chris James. He has his brothers on there and a lot of testimonials of people who have done intermittent fasting, full water fasting, for whether it's the rolling 72s or 30-day water fast. These things all just will keep you inspired on your journey. And what's beautiful about just listening to all of them is they come from, you'll hear very many different perspectives. It's about what works for you. And on your journey, it's not like you're going to do it and just get perfect. It's like, okay, I need to tweak it here. I need to do this here. This didn't work when I did this. It's all a learning lesson. When something doesn't work, it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. Sorry about that, got a little sidetracked, but ultimately it's up to you who you allow into your space to motivate, to inspire, and to encourage you as you're on your health journey, physically, mentally, and spiritually, because every aspect goes hand in hand. And these are just a few of the many people that I watch that have helped me on my health journey and have led me to the place where I'm finally getting to where I'm committed and devoted to having a healthy lifestyle and honoring my temple no matter what's going on around me. So I hope this is an encouragement for many and helps you along your way. Sending you much love and healing on your journey. Until we meet again, Kaseja.